So Brice, what broke you?
Stage 4 colorectal cancer with metastasis to the liver. I'm Brice Bishop. This is my broken, not dead story.
I'm broken, not dead.
Well, this was not my first go-around with cancer. In 2012, at the ripe old age of 49, I was diagnosed with prostate cancer. There was just a surgery, the robotic surgery to remove the prostate. And so it went really well. Didn't really have time to get anxious about having cancer. It happened really quick. But the recuperation from that and the going back for checkups and scans for the next couple of years, I never really went to my local doctor anymore. And then finally went back to the doctor at 53, and they mentioned, you haven't had a colonoscopy, it's time to get screened. Well, I'm still, I guess you can say, celebrating the defeat of prostate cancer, and I really didn't think much more about it until December of 18 when I was 55 and started having some symptoms. So set up my first colonoscopy on June 3rd, 2019 at 56, not 50. And come out of it, the doctor met with us and said, we removed 2 polyps, which are precancerous tumors, but you do have a tumor. And the next day we got confirmation from the pathology that it was cancer. So we did a liver biopsy first week of July, and it came back positive. So that immediately shot me up the charts to stage 4 colorectal cancer with a metastasis to the liver. Okay, now, and I also did some reading where stage 4 colorectal cancer is 11% chance of long-term survival. Long-term survival, I think, is designated at 5 years. So that's not something you want to hear. Yeah, we had chemo, that second week of January, round number 8, and I think our men were playing at Ole Miss on Tuesday, so I've got my hoodie. We're playing indoors, by the way, and so I've got my pump under my hoodie. Okay, now, again, you got to be careful around people, because being on chemo, my immune system's gone. It's been destroyed. I'm what is called immune deficient, and all of a sudden, this term called COVID started popping up. So I just kind of stuck off to myself, and it worked. But then we get to March 10th, which was round 12. I got a phone call from Vanderbilt. I'm looking 615. Typically, the 615 area code, it's bad news, okay? But 615, I'm thinking, I'm going tomorrow. I don't ever get a phone call before chemo. So I answered the phone, and it was radiology. And they had seen on my chart that tomorrow was my last day. March 10th was my last chemo. So we need to get you set up for radiation. Well, that's when I had to inform them that, I've got about 4 or 5 weeks left of our season. Y'all said y'all could work it around my schedule. I'm going to need to kind of, let's look at late April to start radiation. Well, you could just tell the quietness on the other end of the line was not what they wanted to hear, but it is what it is. And so the nurse was really sweet and just said, you call us, your schedule. You call us, we need about 10 days. 10 days prior to when you believe you can start, let's get going. Well, that was on Monday. We have a match that afternoon. Tuesday's my last day of chemo. Okay, this COVID is starting to really, we're hearing a lot of universities talk about, closing and going to online or remote. We're already seeing some athletic programs starting to shut down. We get to Thursday, and very emotional when Carol unplugged me. That's last chemo. It was tough. It was exciting, but my first thought was, okay, was it enough? I mean, my first thought was 11%. Was it enough? And and my next thought was, I got to get to radiation. If it was enough, we need to let the radiation do its part. And so, I get to practice Thursday afternoon. A lot of questions coming to me from the players about, Coach, what are we going to do? I said, you know what? We're going to practice. We're going to be ready. We've already had to postpone a couple of matches on the weekend. And, the ASUN conference office had said they're going to make an official announcement on Friday. So we show up to practice Friday. I'm still kind of walking on cloud 9. I'm done with chemo. There's no side effects. I think the adrenaline of being done has helped work through that. I think the fact that I didn't have that 3-hour chemo is helped also. And then at 4 o'clock, we get the official email. The season's been canceled. But I kind of stand back and let the teams kind of, love on themselves and encourage each other. And then I kind of look at the clock and I'm like, what time is it? I look at one of my assistants, what time is it? She says 4:55 on a Friday afternoon in the middle of March. And I'm thinking, you know what, let's just call radiology. There's no way on March 13th in the middle of spring breaks and all that going on, no way they answer the phone. So I run in to get my phone, I come back out, I'm scrolling back till Monday, finding the number they call me on. I hit redial, hoping it's not just a general operator. And, and I'm laughing. I even look over to my 2 assistants saying, there's no way, no possible way they answer the phone on a Friday afternoon at 4:57. It rings once, it rings twice, it rings 3 times, and I'm about to take the phone away from my ear, and I hear Vanderbilt Radiology, and I just start laughing. There's no way you answered that phone, and she's laughing now. And she goes, well, we are trying to lock the front door to keep people from coming in, but and it was the same nurse that called me on Monday, so we started talking and she said, okay, we sign you up. We'll get you signed up, we'll get you marked, and then we'll get radiation started. So instead of starting radiation on May 1st, now because of COVID, we started it on April 1st. So I got a month head start on my radiation. I mean, I went through the first 8 days, that Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, the whole entire next week thinking, man, I'm hearing horror stories about radiation. This is nothing. I'm doing it by myself. I'm driving by myself up there thinking I'm king of the world, man. I'm killing this, man. This is awesome. This is nothing. Yeah, day 9 and 10, it got real. That's when it started, the effects of it started hitting and it was the worst part of the whole deal. Worst part, the radiation was so much worse than the chemo. And then on August 6th, I got I think the medical term is the ostomy takedown. I call it the reversal, but they call it the takedown. We'll go with the doctor's terminology here. I'm done. My 15-month treatment plan is done. And we were able to navigate a fall and a spring tennis season, a half of a tennis season because it got canceled. And now it's just now I'm in kind of what we call scan mode. I go back every 3 to 4 months for scan or checkups now. I'm every 6 months on scans, and I've done it 4 times now, and every time I go see the doctor, she says, hey, looks good, you're clear. And there is scanxiety, the week before your scans, because just like when I went in for the colonoscopy, I could walk into the doctor's office, she says, well, Coach, we got some spots that have popped up. That's not what I want to hear. And so, fortunately, I haven't heard those. And my next scans will be in this June. So that will be 3 years from the diagnosis. It's a good question of why I'm not dead. Why am I still here? I mentioned that there's a bit of a guilt complex, having a friend that got diagnosed 6 months after me, and she passed away in 14 months. And here I am, I'm clicking around doing everything that I want to do at 35 months and feeling good and strong, and probably stronger than I was before. Yeah, are there still side effects and issues? Oh yes, absolutely. And the journey, and I being a coach, I think helps because I'm not outcome driven. I talk to the players all the time about, okay, let's focus on the journey. Let's not talk about the outcome. If you focus on the journey, and if you really attack the journey the correct way, you can have better outcomes. And so, I think being a coach has helped me with that. So I'm not outcome driven. I don't look at this as, okay, I'm looking forward to 60 months. I'm just thankful to be here today. One thing we've learned is life isn't fair. It's not fair I got cancer. It's not. It's not fair COVID hit. It's not fair, that's not fair. And I joke with them because, you get kids and they're out there and they're mad at a line call and they'll say, Coach, that's not fair. And I'll say, hey, let's go get us a funnel cake. The only fair you're promised in life comes once a year. And during COVID, we didn't even get the fair at the fairgrounds. So, let's go get a funnel cake. If you want fair, life is not fair. It's not. And if you're waiting around on life to be fair, man, that's a depressing way to wait. The second thing we learned from it also is control what you can control. That's something we talk about every day on the tennis court. You can't control. We just played a match, 25-mile-an-hour winds. We played at high noon, so you had the sun in their eyes and really windy. You know what? It's windy on the other side on your opponents too. So you can't complain about the wind. It's windy over there. The sun is in their eyes too at times. So control what you can control. You know what? I didn't do that. I had control of my screening and I didn't do it. And this is what happened. And then probably the most important thing is don't miss the God moments. There's been so many God moments through this journey. You know, the first God moment was when the doctor said we can cater this 15-month treatment to your lifestyle. Wow. I mean, to get excited about chemo is probably not, the what you hear most of, but I said, let's go. Let's get started today. And that was on a Monday, and we had the port put in on a Friday, and we started rocking. And so I was able to get through that. And then, there was another God moment that really humbled both me and Carol. We're sitting after the colon surgery. We're laying in the hospital and the doctors come in and they were kind of upbeat would be an understatement. And I've never seen the colon surgeon and her assistant, that upbeat. They're all serious. And Carol's sitting over there, and of course Carol's asking her more questions, being the medical person in our family, me being medically ignorant. I'm listening. I don't know what she's saying, but I'm listening. I'm still a little bit, droggy from all the medicine. But when they left, I looked over at Carol. I said, did they seem odd? And she said, yeah, they kind of seemed, I think the term was giddy. And it kind of hit us, That's when it hit me. They don't get to see outcomes like this a lot, okay? They get to see a lot of the 89%. And right now, she's talking about, we got it all. There's no sign of it anywhere else. We were able to, put you back, hopefully we're gonna be able to put you back together. And you could just see the excitement in their voice and their tone and their demeanor about they felt good about it. And, I'm sitting there groggy and I'm sitting there with staples all in me and over me. And I'm thinking, man, this don't feel good. And it humbled me because they don't get to see this a lot. Now, here I sit. I feel good. I'm 30-something months, almost 3 years. We got a couple more months. June 3rd will be 3 years from the diagnosis. Okay. August 6th of 20 was my last treatment. And so we're just thankful to be here, hopefully being able to encourage someone about the journey they're on. And again, my issue is cancer, yours can be something else, but it's still a journey, and it's still, those God moments, they're there. Sometimes we get caught up in our own pity parties. And, I was probably the worst at that, just getting up in our pity parties. But if we really look around, we can see those God moments and just the peace and the comfort and the assurance, not of the outcome, but that He's going to walk the daily journey with us is overwhelming.
I'm broken, I'm dead.